Grand Commander Nexval stood on the command bridge of the Eternal Dominion, flagship of the Galactic Hegemony's third invasion fleet. Through the massive view screen, the blue-green planet hung suspended against the backdrop of infinite stars. Earth, as its inhabitants called it. Primitive, isolated, valuable. Any response to our ultimatum? Nexval asked, six-fingered hands clasped behind his back. Sub-Commander Triska checked her console, her silver skin reflecting the ambient blue light. Negative, Grand Commander. The humans have received our transmission but have sent no reply. Nexval's mouth tentacles twitched with amusement. As expected, their arrogance is almost admirable. He turned to his tactical officer. How long until our fleet is in optimal bombardment position? 23 minutes, sir. The Grand Commander nodded. Begin preparations. Target their major military installations first, then governmental structures. I want their leadership decapitated within the hour. The Third Invasion Fleet comprised over 300 warships, ranging from nimble strike cruisers to massive dreadnoughts. They had conquered 17 planetary systems in the past solar cycle alone, adding valuable resources and slave labor to the hegemony's ever-expanding borders. Earth would be no different, another primitive world to be harvested and subjugated. Intelligence reports classified Earth as a Level 2 civilization, capable of basic spaceflight, but lacking faster-than-light technology. Their military capabilities were laughable compared to the hegemony's plasma cannons and quantum shields. The conquest would be swift, surgical, and absolute. Sir, Triska's voice held an unusual edge. I'm detecting multiple spatial anomalies forming at coordinates 227.83 by 416.59. Nexval frowned. What kind of anomalies? Unknown, sir. They appear to be. Triska paused, checking her readings. They're artificial wormholes, sir. 17 of them. Before Nexval could respond, the view screen shifted to show space itself tearing open. From the wombs in reality emerged vessels unlike any in the hegemony's extensive database. Midnight black, they absorbed rather than reflected light, their hulls adorned with subtle blue energy lines pulsing like veins. They were massive, each easily rivaling the Eternal Dominion in size. Impossible, whispered Tactical Officer Zervex. The humans have no such technology. The black ships moved with impossible grace, positioning themselves in a defensive formation between the hegemony fleet and Earth. No communications were broadcast, no warnings issued. They simply waited, silent and threatening. Open a channel, ordered Nexval, straightening his posture. Whatever these vessels were, they would soon learn the price of defying the hegemony. The view screen flickered, and Nexval found himself staring at a human. The man appeared to be in his 5th decade of life, with dark skin and silver-streaked hair. He wore a simple black uniform devoid of ostentation, save for a small silver insignia on his collar depicting Earth surrounded by a crescent. This is Admiral Marcus Chen of the Terran Defense Force, the human stated calmly. Your fleet is trespassing in sovereign Earth space. You will power down weapons systems and withdraw immediately. Nexval recovered quickly from his surprise. I am Grand Commander Nexval of the Galactic Hegemony. Your planet has been selected for integration into our empire. Surrender now, and your people may serve as subjects rather than slaves. Admiral Chen's expression remained unchanged. Perhaps you misunderstood, Commander. That wasn't a request. You have 17 vessels. We have 300. Your resistance, while unexpected, is futile. A ghost of a smile touched Chen's lips. 17 vessels is all we need. He nodded to someone off-screen. A demonstration, I think. One of the black ships moved forward, positioning itself directly before the hegemony formation. A pulse of energy, invisible except for how it distorted the space around it, shot forth. It struck one of the hegemony cruisers, which simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris. The ship was there, and then it wasn't. Stunned silence fell across the Eternal Dominion's command bridge. That was the relentless conquest, Triska reported, her voice barely audible. 800 crew. Just gone. Admiral Chen's voice drew Nexval's attention back to the view screen. That was a courtesy demonstration. The Phantom Division has protected Earth from the shadows for over a century. We've observed your hegemony's expansion, studied your tactics, and prepared accordingly. Impossible, Nexval hissed. Human technological development is thoroughly documented. You have no capacity for vessels of this nature. Your intelligence has a critical flaw, Commander, Chen replied. You assumed that because Earth's public space program was limited, that represented the extent of our capabilities. You never considered we might choose to hide our true strength. On the command bridge, Tactical Officer Zurvex whispered to Nexval. Sir, we're detecting unusual energy readings from those vessels. Their power outputs are incalculable. Admiral Chen continued. Humanity isn't joining your hegemony, Commander, but we are introducing ourselves to the galactic community today. His expression hardened. You have 15 minutes to withdraw your forces from Earth space. After that, we will consider your continued presence an act of war. The communication ended abruptly, leaving Nexval staring at the implacable black vessels. For the first time in his distinguished military career, Grand Commander Nexval felt something foreign and uncomfortable settle in his chest. Fear. Orders, sir, Triska asked, her voice unnaturally tight. Nexval's mind raced through calculations and possibilities. The Hegemony Council would expect him to press the attack, to crush this unexpected resistance. Retreat meant disgrace, possibly execution. Yet the alternative. Prepare the fleet for withdrawal, he finally ordered. Tactical. Analyze all sensor data from that demonstration. I want to know exactly what kind of weapon was used. Sir, Triska couldn't hide her surprise. We're retreating? Nexval turned to face his bridge crew. Make no mistake. This is a tactical withdrawal, not defeat. We were sent to conquer a primitive world. That is clearly not what we're facing. He gestured toward the view screen where the black ships maintained their vigil. Update the Hegemony archives. Earth classification changed from Level 2 integration target to Level 5 emerging power. We will return with appropriate forces. As the Hegemony fleet executed its withdrawal maneuvers, Admiral Chen watched from the bridge of the TDF Shadowbreaker. Beside him stood Director Ilara Quan, head of the Phantom Division, and the architect of Earth's hidden defense strategy. They'll be back, Quan observed, her expression thoughtful. And in greater numbers. Chen nodded. Yes, but we've bought time and changed the equation. The Hegemony expected an easy conquest. Now they know differently. The public will have questions, Quan said. Decades of secrecy about to end. It was always going to end someday, Chen replied. Better on our terms than theirs. He turned to his communications officer. Contact Earth Unified Command. Tell them Operation Reveal is in effect. As the Hegemony ships disappeared into FTL jumps, Chen couldn't help but reflect on the irony. For over a century, the greatest minds on Earth had worked in absolute secrecy, developing technologies that had leapfrogged human civilization centuries ahead. They had hidden their accomplishments from their own people as much as from watching alien eyes, all to preserve the element of surprise for a day they hoped would never come. That day had arrived, and humanity had shown its hand. The game was changing, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 days after the Hegemony's retreat, Grand Commander Nexval stood before the High Council on Zenthra Prime, the beating heart of the galactic hegemony. The circular chamber, with its towering obsidian columns and gleaming floor inlaid with precious metals from 1,000 conquered worlds, was designed to intimidate. Today, it succeeded. Explain yourself, Commander. High Counselor Drevmax's voice boomed through the chamber. You were sent to claim Earth, not retreat from it. Nexval straightened his posture, tentacles rigid with controlled tension. Esteemed Council, The intelligence on Earth was catastrophically flawed. They possessed technology far beyond Level 2 classification, possibly exceeding our own in certain areas. He activated a holographic display, showing footage of the black ships and the inexplicable weapon that had erased the relentless conquest from existence. The council members watched in silence, their expressions unreadable. We were outmatched, Nexval concluded. A tactical withdrawal was the only logical response. High Counselor Zexvar, the oldest member of the council, leaned forward. How could we have missed this? Our scouts have monitored Earth for decades. The humans deliberately concealed their capabilities, Nexval explained. They maintained a primitive public face while developing advanced technology in secret. Deception, rumbled Counselor Krulvox, his scared face twisting with disgust. Dishonorable. Strategic, corrected Counselor Aisha Max, the lone female on the High Council. And effective. We have underestimated these humans. After hours of deliberation, the Council reached its decision. The Third Fleet would be reinforced with ships from 3 additional fleets. Nexval would return to Earth with over 1,000 warships, the largest concentration of hegemony firepower assembled in a century. Earth would be conquered, its deceptive inhabitants enslaved, and their technology appropriated for the glory of the hegemony. What the Council didn't know, what Nexval himself didn't fully grasp, was that the balance of power had already shifted irrevocably. On Earth, the revelation of the Phantom Division had sent shockwaves through global society. For generations, a secret coalition of nations had diverted vast resources into this shadow program, developing technologies that seemed like magic compared to what the public believed possible. In the United Nations General Assembly Hall in New York, Admiral Marcus Chen and Director Ilara Kwan addressed the gathered world leaders and billions watching via global broadcast. For 107 years, Chen explained, the Phantom Division has operated beyond public awareness. This secrecy was essential, not to deceive our own people, but to protect them from threats they weren't ready to face. Kwan stepped forward. In 1947, we'd recovered an alien scout ship that crashed in New Mexico. From it, we learned 2 critical facts. We were not alone in the universe, and many of our cosmic neighbors viewed us as resources to be harvested rather than equals to be welcomed. Murmurs rippled through the assembly as Kwan continued. The recovered technology gave us a head start, but the real advances came through human ingenuity. Quantum energy manipulation, gravitational engineering, space-time folding. These weren't given to us. They were earned through decades of brilliant scientific work. On screens worldwide, classified footage played for the first time. The construction of massive underground facilities beneath the Antarctic ice sheet and the Mariana Trench, test flights of experimental craft using artificial gravity, the establishment of hidden bases on Mars and in the asteroid belt. The 17 vessels you saw defending Earth represent only our first defensive line, Chen revealed. The Phantom Fleet consists of over 200 ships, stationed throughout our solar system and beyond. We've established self-sufficient colonies on 7 worlds in nearby star systems, colonies with their own shipbuilding capabilities. In the Oval Office, President Eleanor Reyes watched the broadcast with her senior advisors. The public reaction. Mixed, Madam President, replied her chief of staff. Shock, anger at being kept in the dark, but predominantly relief that we weren't defenseless. The extranet is flooded with messages supporting the division. Reyes nodded. And our allies. Most are claiming they were aware all along, came the wry response. Though Japan and India are openly acknowledging their contributions to the program. And the hegemony? Defense Secretary General Williams answered this time. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected massive fleet movements. They're gathering forces, Madam President. Conservative estimates suggest they'll return with at least 3 times their original numbers. Reyes's expression remained calm. And our assessment. Admiral Chen believes we can hold them off, but it won't be without cost. Director Quan has accelerated deployment of our Phase E defenses. The president turned back to the screen, where Chen was now explaining the nature of the galactic political landscape, the various alien confederations, empires, and independent worlds that made up the complex tapestry of interstellar civilization. For too long, Earth has been viewed as isolated and primitive, Chen was saying. Today, that changes. Today, humanity takes its place among the stars, not as conquerors like the hegemony, nor as victims like so many others. Quan joined him at the podium. We know the hegemony will return. When they do, we will be ready, not just with our ships and weapons, but with alliances. Already, we've made contact with civilizations that have suffered under hegemony expansion. They've been waiting for someone to stand against the bullies of the galaxy. In orbit around Neptune, Fleet Admiral Sophia Rice, the president's younger sister and commander of the Phantom Fleet's outer defense ring, received updated intelligence from deep space probes. The hegemony was marshaling an armada unprecedented in size. Their return would come sooner than expected. Alert all commands, she ordered her staff. Implement contingency protocol Omega. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations sprang to life. In the midst of the asteroid belt, massive defense platforms emerged from hollowed-out planetoids. On Mars, subterranean launch bays opened, revealing hundreds of smaller attack craft. From beneath the icy surfaces of Europa and Enceladus, additional black ships rose, their advanced stealth systems making them nearly invisible to conventional sensors. On Earth itself, quantum communication relays linked to allies in distant star systems activated, coordinating a multi-pronged response to the coming hegemony assault. 5 days after Earth's revelation to the galaxy, Grand Commander Nexval led the reinforced armada back to the Sol system. Over 1,200 warships exited faster than light travel near Jupiter, their weapon systems powered and ready. This time, there would be no ultimatum, no chance for surrender. Earth would burn for its deception. What Nexval found instead was a transformed solar system, where empty space had greeted his fleet before. Now a vast defensive network awaited. Not just the 17 ships from before, but hundreds of vessels of varying sizes and configurations. Massive defense platforms orbited key planets. Sensor arrays detected energy signatures throughout the system, suggesting weaponry of unimaginable power. Sir, Triska's voice was steady despite the shocking display before them. We're being hailed. On the view screen appeared not Admiral Chen, but Director Ilara Quan. Her expression was neither triumphant nor concerned, simply focused. Grand Commander, she acknowledged. I see you've brought friends. Nexval refused to show surprise. Your deception ends today. The full might of the galactic hegemony stands ready to reduce your world to ash. Quan nodded. Yes, I see that. Before you issue orders you can't retract, perhaps you should check your long-range sensors. Confused but cautious, Nexval gestured to his tactical officer. After a moment, Zurovex looked up in shock. Sir, we're detecting multiple fleets entering the system, but they're not ours. On auxiliary screens, dozens of wormholes opened at the edges of the solar system. Through them came ships of varied designs and configurations, vessels bearing the markings of the Arcturian Confederation, the Regelian Trading Compact, the Pleiades Coalition, and half a dozen other civilizations that had suffered under hegemony expansion. Allow me to introduce our allies, Quan said calmly. It seems Earth isn't the only world that's been hiding its strength, waiting for the right moment. Nexval felt the deck seemingly shift beneath him as the implications became clear. This wasn't just about Earth anymore. This was a coordinated resistance, one that had been planned for years. You orchestrated this, he accused. Not orchestrated, Quan corrected. Catalyzed. The hegemony's brutality created the conditions. We simply provided the opportunity. Her expression softened slightly. You have a choice, Commander. The combined forces you see before you outmatch even your impressive armada. You can retreat now and carry a message back to your council. The era of hegemony expansion is over. For a long moment, Nex Val considered his options. Pride and duty demanded attack, but logic dictated otherwise. Finally, he spoke, "And if we choose to fight?" Quan's response was measured. "Then we will defend ourselves and our allies. But consider this, we could have struck first. We didn't. That should tell you something about who we are." As Grand Commander Nexval issued the order to withdraw, he knew the hegemony would never be the same. The balance of power across the galaxy had shifted in ways his people had never anticipated. Earth, a world they had dismissed as primitive, had not only revealed itself as a formidable power, but had united the disparate victims of hegemony aggression. From the command bridge of the Shadowbreaker, Admiral Chen watched the hegemony fleet retreat. "They'll be back," he noted. "Not as conquerors next time, but as diplomats." Director Quan nodded. "And we'll be ready for that too." As Earth's defenders stood down from battle stations, humanity collectively breathed a sigh of relief. Their secret was out, their place in the cosmos forever changed. The road ahead would not be easy. Political realignments, technological integration, the challenges of becoming a known player in galactic affairs. But they had faced the first and greatest hurdle. The galaxy now knew. Humanity would not be conquered. Humanity would not be subjugated. And any who tried would learn why so many ancient species had given Earth a wide berth in their explorations. Humans didn't seek conflict, but when threatened, they united. When challenged, they innovated. When faced with overwhelming odds, they simply refused to accept defeat. That was the message sent across the stars that day. A message that would echo through the cosmos for generations to come.